Welcome to your weekly energy download. I'm here to help you understand the collective energy that's moving through all of us right now. Think of it like emotional weather that we can all feel. When we name it and understand it, we can work with it instead of against it. We're going to look at what energy we just moved through, what's showing up now as our invitation to grow, and how you can use this information to navigate your week with more flow and less resistance. Let's dive in.
Energy report time. So grab your chart if you haven't already, and welcome back to yourself. So on the QR code, if you're scanning the screen, oh, we've got Kurt popping in. I'm gonna put some links in the chat to make it easy for you to click and follow along with us. All right, cool. So, uh, whether you scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the chat, you will be brought to a landing page that looks something like this. It will say, "Welcome back to yourself." You enter your name, and then you will have a spot to enter the location of where you are. So, your name, birth details, and then the transit information of where you are. And you will get a chart that looks something like this. To break it down simply for you, anything in blue is infinitely you. Anything in this purple, reddish color, these are gifts that we have temporary access to in the transit overlay. So, blue, anything your soul chose to be successful in this lifetime. Pinkish, purplish color, anything you're gaining temporary access to from the transit, from the planets moving and shaking around up there. Let's briefly talk about the energy that we just moved out of. We had a lot of heart energy. It was nice. The last cycle brought us into the heart and the body, love and embodiment. Gate 46 asked us to say yes to life through the body, grounding in presence and delight. Gate 25 asked us to soften our hearts, to return to innocence, and to embody unconditional love. Lots of practice with this with Taylor this weekend. Together, they reminded us that serendipity and alignment don't come from forcing outcomes. They come from being present in the body and open in your heart. The final reflection question that I want to leave you with is, where did I experience a moment of serendipity or heart opening? And what does it teach me about trust? Okay, that was the energy that we were just in. Now, the energy that we are in now, we've been in it for a few days, so you've been feeling it. In our sun, we have the gate 18, which is the gate of correction. Gate 18 is the energy that sees what's out of alignment. It notices the cracks in the foundation, the patterns that no longer serve, the places where something just isn't right. At its best, this energy is not about tearing down, but restoring integrity. It carries the frequency of healing, not just for the individual, but for families, communities, and collective systems. But in the shadow, it can feel heavy, like nothing is ever good enough, either in yourself or in others. How this might show up, it might look like that urge to fix, to improve, to bring things back into alignment. It might look like moments where criticism feels louder than encouragement. This 18 has a lot of parental conditioning associated with it. So making sure to identify those voices of correction in your head and making sure that they are ones of encouragement. They are ones that actually serve the purpose that you're moving toward right now. And then this also might show up as situations where deep healing can come from naming what's been avoided. And the shadow, it's judgment, nitpicking, perfectionism, or criticism that disempowers instead of heals. In the quantum expression of this, she talks about, is it adding joy to the world? The gift with this 18 is integrity, the ability to bring gentle correction that leads to real healing and growth. The reflection questions that I'm leaving you with for this 18 to finish processing this energy. Where am I being overly critical of myself or others? What correction is actually needed right now? And what can be released? How can I offer feedback or change with compassion instead of judgment? Then in our earth, balancing that energy, we have the gate of opinions. Gate 17 is about forming and sharing opinions, not from ego, but from a place of perspective that can actually serve the collective. At its shadow, it can sound rigid or dogmatic. At its gift, it helps us see things more clearly and guide others through that vision. Where this feeling might show up in life, or where this gate might show up in life this week, is feeling pressure to voice your perspectives or noticing everyone else's opinions flying, experiencing tension between holding your view and being open to others. It might also show up as recognizing how opinions can either divide or open doors to new perspectives, as we witnessed just this morning before we started doing the transit report. The shadow here with the 17 is dogmatism, clinging to being right, right? Because who's the judge of that? Clinging to being right and shutting down dialogue. The gift is vision, sharing perspectives that expand awareness and spark solutions. I want to also make note that both the 17 and the 18 are in a line 5, which has the shadow of defensiveness and the gift of being practical. So when we think about even right and wrong in our own justice legal system, we can glean that there are some things from that system that we can learn from. There, I say all the time, systems are breaking, and that system is one of them. So, this whole being right, quote unquote, who is to judge that? And I want to keep this at the forefront as we move forward with 17 opinions in a line 5. Are we being defensive or are we being practical? The official reflection questions I'm going to leave you with for the 17 are, where do I feel the need to prove my opinion instead of simply sharing it? What vision or perspective of mine could genuinely serve others right now? And how can I hold space for other viewpoints without losing the strength of my own? What's going to help this week is gentle correction. Frame flaws as opportunities for growth. Holding the vision lightly is going to help. Share opinions, not ultimatums. Was just talking with Taylor about this. Compassionate dialogue. Listen as much as you speak. Self reflection is going to help this week, so noticing where judgment starts with you. And lastly, seeing bigger patterns, letting opinion serve a higher perspective. What may trip you up is that hypercriticism, turning insight into nitpicking, dogmatism, needing to prove your opinion is right, quote unquote. Projection might trip you up this week, criticizing others for what you secretly judge in yourself. Rigidity, refusing to update your perspective when new info arises. And lastly, overwhelm, might trip you up this week. Trying to fix everything you notice. You're going to be noticing a lot. This week's energy brings sharp eyes and sharp minds. Gate 18 sees what needs healing, and Gate 17 gives perspective on where we're going. Together, they can feel like a flood of judgment and opinions. But the invitation is to use this energy in service of growth, not in tearing down. The challenge this week, when you notice what's wrong, also name what's working. When you share your opinion or share an opinion, share it as an offering, not a verdict. When judgment arises, turn it into curiosity. What's the deeper truth here? This is a week to transform criticism into clarity and opinions into vision. Let your insight serve integrity and let your perspective expand possibility. What we are expanding into coming up. We have for our private circle members the masterclass on incarnation crosses, which is all about your life and soul curriculum here in this lifetime. I've made the executive decision to also pair that with the activation, like a brief intro to the activation sequence in Gene Keys. If you were in Heart Seat Coaching last time, you have your Gene Keys report. So it's really going to be talking about those blurbs. So homework if you haven't read them just yet. Speaking of Heart Seat Coaching, our next session, which is again available to our private circle members, is on October 8th at 7 p.m. We can continue the discussion from incarnation crosses and activation. We can talk core wounds like we were doing. We even did variables, marketing. This is a space where there is no agenda. Come, bring your questions, bring your insights, bring your ahas, and we will co create the agenda together. We'll get you some clarity. And lastly, check the show notes or scan the QR code if you are ready for your next level of support. I am officially looking for individual clients right now. And as I mentioned, there are a couple of events that are available to private circle members. So if you're not sure which bucket might be the best fit for you, I am loving the clarity conversations I've been having with people, whether we decide it's a good fit to do work together or not. I love getting people the clarity that they need to really move forward in their life path and their soul curriculum.
Every Tuesday morning, we gather live in Limitless University for what I call our weekly energy alignment. We start by celebrating wins because your victories matter and deserve to be witnessed. Then we dive into the week's collective energy together, and we close in gratitude, setting the foundation for a week of flow and alignment. The transit report you just heard is one piece of our hour-long gathering. And there's something really special about experiencing this energy work in real time with other humans who get it. You can join us at diamonddripconsulting.com, and you can also find that link in the show notes.